Hello everybody, I'm your guide Q, and welcome to a slightly different thing. Today we're going to be looking at some Discord stories. In my previous video, some people didn't actually know what Discord was, or what it's used for, and it's basically a place where you can have servers revolving around all sorts of topics, from people that like the same band, to people that play the same video game and want to talk about it or find other people to play with, to people that like YouTubers. Any community you can think of probably has a Discord server where people gather, and it's either a single chat room where people talk, or a series of chat rooms and voice chats where people can post about different things, vent to one another, talk about their personal lives, or whatever topics they're interested in. Now, I hear stories all the time of people talking about meeting their best friend on Discord, or getting into a relationship with someone they met over there, or just being happy to have met people with similar interests or shared life experiences to them, and to be able to talk about it on a platform like this. But today, we're not going to be talking about experiences like that. We're going to be talking about some of the creepy people that you meet on Discord, so let's get into the stories. All of these stories are coming from my submissions email, qsubs@gmail.com. Feel free to submit yours there if you're interested. So earlier this year, I asked my bud if I could rejoin his server. I left because it wasn't active for a while, but I heard it was active again. Anyway, so I rejoined the server, and it was pretty chill. A lot of art drawn by the other people in the server, game capture, memes, and anime references. I started chatting in the server, making friends with a lot of people, and it was pretty cool. About a week later, I get a friend request from some random girl. Let's call her Mandy. I messaged Mandy asking who she was, and she said that she was in my friend's server. We talked about anime, memes, and games, and out of nowhere, she told me that she was depressed, like after 2 hours of talking about random junk. I didn't know how to respond, and told her that I'm sorry and that I hope that she can get through it. She then asked if we could be friends, and I said sure. The next day, she ends up sending a photo of herself to me out of nowhere, which was really weird. I asked her why she sent a picture, and she said that since we were friends, it would be okay. I told her that she needed to be careful because people on the internet could be weird or not who they seem. That is amazing advice. She told me she didn't care because we were friends, and asked me to send a picture so that she could put a face to my words. I told her no, and that I was uncomfortable with that. She then got upset, but we left it at that. The next day, she ends up sending a photo of herself to me out of nowhere, which was really weird to me. I asked her why she sent a picture, and that she said since we were friends, it would be okay. I told her that she needed to be careful because people on the internet could be weird or not who they seem. That is an amazing piece of advice. She told me she didn't care because we were friends, and asked me to send a pic so that she could put a face to my words. I told her no, and that I was uncomfortable with that. She then got upset, but we left it at that. A few days go by, during which she keeps sending photos and keeps asking me to send one back, and me telling her no, and her telling me that she is even more depressed, even though I told her countless times I was uncomfortable with it. Anyway, after a while, she sends me a message asking if I wanted to hang out. Me being confused, I asked what she meant. Apparently, she asked the server's owner if he knew me, him saying yes, and that I live in the same town as them. We went to the same high school at the time I was graduated, and they were seniors. I was pissed at my friend, but I was more creeped out that this stranger now knew where I lived. Ever since then, she kept asking me if I wanted to hang out and play games at her house. I told her no every time because I was extremely busy looking for work and applying to junior colleges. Every time I said no, she would tell me she would cut her wrist or that I'm causing her to be more depressed or whatnot. And after a month, I told her that what she was doing was toxic and I didn't need that in my life. I told her that I was truly sorry that she was depressed, but I wasn't going to let her guilt trip me into doing something I wasn't comfortable with, nor had the time to do. Then she started telling me I was a dick and that I was playing with her emotions. She even called me a pedo because I wouldn't send pics of myself and that I would only look at hers even though I didn't ask for them. I found out from my friend, the server owner, that she asked for my name so she could look me up in the yearbook, but he never gave it to her. So this one's really creepy because it's an example of the internet turning into real life, which is kind of a thing that I think most of us don't want to happen. Like, I mean, it's cool to meet a friend in real life that you've made on the internet, but it's not good for somebody to know where you live that you aren't interested in meeting on the internet. I feel like we should all know at this point that you shouldn't trust anybody out there on the internet. I'm gonna say internet like 60,000 times in this video, and I feel like you just need to talk to your friend about what information you're comfortable with them revealing about you, because this was totally unacceptable, and that was a complete breach of trust, and hopefully you can build that trust back up with your friend, and they can respect your privacy, and I really hope this girl doesn't come back into your life, because it sounded like she had a lot of work to do on herself, and she was sort of just a manipulative person. Hiya, Q. I know you were asking for some stories about weirdos from Discord lately, so here you go. For context, I was added to a small Discord server, only about 12 people or so, because we all had similar interests in a band, and we had recently gotten to know each other. For the most part, the server is calm, no arguments or anything like that, besides from one girl that was added to the server by the admin. We'll call the girl in question A for storytelling's sake. A was one of the only people in the server that I didn't know, and upon first encountering her, I had already completely figured out that we weren't going to get along. She was in the main text channel of the server bragging about how she had apparently met the lead singer of the band that we all shared interest in, and how she had also apparently flashed him. That was a small incident compared to what was going to come, but at the time I figured it to be a harmless attempt at attention seeking and said nothing. As time passed, I figured out that no one in the server was allowed to feel bad about anything without her swooping in and making it about her. Someone in the server opened up about sexual abuse, and while some people were trying to comfort her, A came in and went into extensive detail about how a teacher allegedly sexually abused her while she was in high school. Someone had a bad day, well, A's day was definitely worse, and here's all the reasons why. She would also constantly brag about apparently working in a sex shop, and would speak about a lot of sexual topics, including about a girlfriend she had apparently gained from being in the server. I didn't really think this was all that bad until one of my other friends from the server DM'd me, and we had an entire conversation about everything that A has lied about. Everything from having curly hair to making up entire friend groups and pretending to be them on social media. This also led to a Google Doc being sent to me that was 3 pages full of all the lies she said, with evidence to prove it, including proving her teacher sexual abuse story wrong. While this was all going on, she was in the server saying that she had attempted suicide the day before, while also saying that she was in Disneyland. She was being very dramatic about the whole thing, blacked out her account and all that jazz. This girl was like 19, but was also evading any detailed questions, sending fake pictures to try and prove her story, etc. So me and the friend hatched a plan. We noticed that if anyone complains about anything about their life in chat, she always comes in and somehow makes it about herself. The plan was for me to go into chat and talk about the rare mental illness that I'm currently working on being diagnosed with. It's very specific, and if she even got one piece of info about it wrong, then I'd know she was lying. It worked, and she took the bait. Except instead of saying that she had it, she said a close friend of hers did, but she knew a lot about it. I decided to test her knowledge, and I DM'd her about it. Cue a massive pile of misinformation. I feigned like I was asking her for advice on the disorder, as it had only recently began to show up, but I had done a lot of research about it at that point. I kept asking her questions, watching her dig a hole in her own story repeatedly until I couldn't take her bullshit anymore. I confronted her and told her that I knew she was lying and how I found it highly insulting. She immediately blows up on me and blames it on me, telling me I shouldn't have been dumping this on her right now, etc, etc. She then tries to blame it on mental illness. I call her bullshit, she curses me out and leaves the server, not before going in and talking shit about me, and blacks out her account again. It caused a little bit of discourse in the server for those who didn't know what was going on, but after it was explained, the decision was unanimous that we didn't want her around anymore. She didn't try to apologize to me, but she kept her claws in one of our friends, taking advantage of her kind-hearted nature until very recently. I don't understand how people can act like that still. Like, that's the shit you do on Facebook when you're 12 and don't know how to act like a normal human, not when you're 19 in a Discord server. I mean, it kinda makes sense to me that it happened. From my experience, this is like a pretty common thing that some random person you find on Discord will do. Maybe not all of it all together, but this sort of stuff happening. It sounds like she had some trait narcissism going on, and maybe some compulsive lying, because she just couldn't stop one-upping everybody and coming up with these crazy stories to play the victim and garner sympathy from you guys. I don't think her blaming it on mental illness was that inaccurate. I mean, she might have thought she had a different justification than what it actually is, but there was clearly some mental health problem that led to this. I mean, this is a true sign of real attention-seeking behavior when you go through all of this to garner attention from like 12 people. I mean, I don't know, normal attention-seeking behavior is like you're trying to get attention on a grand scale, or maybe, I guess she looked up to you guys or thought that you were cool and wanted you guys to think that she was cool. It's just a weird situation overall. I want to take this opportunity to remind you guys that if you're in a situation like this, for the most part, there is a solution. You can turn off your computer and step away. You can leave that server. You can contact the people that you specifically know you genuinely trust after knowing for a while and say, hey, like, add me on Twitter so we can DM, or like, add me on Discord and then I'm blocking everybody on this server or something like that. Like, there are ways to separate yourself from these toxic people. Luckily, in that last story, she was able to have everybody rally together against this one toxic person, but sometimes it isn't like that. Sometimes a server is toxic, and you just have to say that, hey, this server's doing me more harm than good. I should reach out to the people that I actually care about in this server and genuinely trust and move away from it in general. I just don't want to see any situation like this happen to one of you guys because you stayed in a server that really wasn't all that good for you, but you had friends there that you didn't want to let go of. So feel free to send your Discord story to qsubs@gmail.com. I'd really like to hear what has gone on with you, if you've met any creepy people on Discord. Try and keep, like, petty personal drama out of it, or personal drama in general. Leave it to, like, creepy people on Discord, or maybe servers that were toxic, that were doing sketchy stuff. Anything like that is definitely welcome to be emailed to qsubs@gmail.com. Feel free to check out my gaming channel in the description down below, alongside the merch, the Amazon affiliate links to all of the equipment I use, and my social media. I hope you guys are staying safe out there. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will see you very soon. Have a good one, guys.